Welcome to the Personal Injury Law Show, viewers. My name's Tony Carbone, personal injury lawyer with more than 25 years' experience. This is a show that talks about personal injuries and everything you need to know about personal injuries. Now, look us up on Facebook, go to Twitter and also the website, and that way you can learn a bit more about your rights and obligations. Now, with me tonight, I've got Don Maffia, a very experienced transport accident lawyer. Good evening, Don.
Good evening, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
And you've been doing transport accident law for how long?
Oh, over 10 years now, Tony.
That's it. And also on the other side, I've got Robert Paoletti,
good to be
an
here, Tony.
up-and-coming superstar in the field of transport accidents.
Thanks for that, Tony.
Good evening, Rob.
Good to be here.
Now, tonight we're going to be dealing with transport accidents and some of the things that have occurred recently. In particular, Don and Rob.
What's in the news, Tony?
Well, the incident involving Shane Warne and the cyclist. There's a lot of conjecture about what happened there. The cyclist says he was cutting between cars to try and get to a bike lane, and Shane Warne says that he started abusing him. Now, it highlights the problems we've got between cyclists and cars, road users, motor vehicles.
There's a lot of tension out there at the moment.
There is. And there's got to be a bit of cooperation going on. Now, Don, what's your take on this one?
Well, wasn't there an allegation there, Tony, that the cyclist thumped Shane Warne's car and then Shane Warne effectively bowled him over in his car?
Yeah, it's sort of not sure about whether he actually hit him or not.
Two different versions. At first, the cyclist didn't want to come out and then identified himself and wrote a letter to the Herald Sun. But essentially, I think it is where Shane Warne has come out and said all cyclists should be registered. Tony,
Okay. And Rob, what do your take on this?
Look, there's a lot of views on this, and I think people's views tend to vary a fair bit. I think there's definitely some merit in considering that, because we've reached the point now where there are a lot of bike users on the road, and they're road users just like anybody else driving a car or a truck or any other vehicle. So perhaps it's something we do have to start to consider.
Well, just on that issue, Rob, when we had the young lady from the Cycling Association, she said they had 45,000 members, which is a very big organisation, and they're the ones that are registered. My concern, and I'm not picking on cyclists now, my concern is that assuming the cyclist is at fault or does something wrong, does that mean you have to chase after the cyclist? That's my concern, Don. And we don't, what the public's view of police chases is.
Well, that's right. That's why we have registration plates on our vehicles to identify the vehicles.
Rob, we don't want to encourage a motorcyclist chasing a...
That's right. I mean, there is the potential, I suppose, as you've pointed out, that if there is no way of identifying the bike rider, then people might take things into their own hands and try to follow them or chase them, and then that could lead to some kind of accident. But if there is a registration there, they take the registration plate just like a car that's done something wrong.
We're not talking about them paying $600 or $700, are we? No. We're saying that there should be a plate where you can identify the cyclist that was riding the bike.
Identification, I think, is the most important thing.
Because up until now, everyone's concentrated on motor cars striking cyclists. What about occasions when a cyclist hits a car and takes off? Okay. And, the car owner's left with some serious damage to their car, but they can't identify the person that caused the damage.
I guess the other side to that, Tony, would be the cyclists will be discouraging cycling. So the view would be that if you have to register your vehicle costs money, there'll be less cyclists on the road, which I guess with fitness and all those things want to encourage it. But also, how would you administer it?
Oh, look, I think a bit like Vic Roads. Get them to pay $50 to $100 just to get a rego plate.
But you can, like a vehicle, you go to a car yard or a private sale, you have to transfer papers. But a bike, you can buy at your local milk bar. So
yeah, but it's got to be. You could always go and buy, get the plates afterwards. Go to Vic Roads and get some number plates so that you can identify. Look, let's be realistic. At the end of the day, it's a silly or sad state of affairs when you can't identify who's riding the bike. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
But there's another twist to this too, Don. There's the Greens want the fines to be increased for people that open their car doors.
That's right. There is a bill before the State Parliament which has been debated, and it's introduced by the Greens. And the Greens want to increase the fine for what they call door-in accidents. So that's where a driver opens the door when they're parked and a cyclist runs into the door. And they want to increase it from, I believe it's around $122 to a maximum of $366, but the one increased to $1,220.
What do you think about that, Rob?
Well, there's definitely something to consider there. I mean, because the bike tracks are right next to where vehicles pull over and park, you really do have to take care when you open your door, and perhaps there is some merit in that kind of...
Well, I think it wouldn't be a bad thing because you've got to take special care opening your door.
That's right.
Well, the Greens minister, he says that these type of accidents has doubled in the past 4 years. So they put a percentage of 4% of all accidents.
I'm confident that's a fact because the Transport Accident Act was amended to pick up that.
Well, that's right. If someone's in a transport accident, and that includes a door-in accident, they're included in the scheme. So
look, I think there's a little clip on the Shane Warne incident. I think we should go to that because it's of interest. And I think the viewers would find it interesting. So can we go to that now?
I think what disappoints a lot of people is the attitude of the bike rider. They don't own the road. Can we please have registration plates so we can actually report them if they're doing something wrong?
Registration is not the answer. It will cost the community a lot of money and it has very limited effectiveness.
A bike rider, if they're hit by a car, is going to be the one that's worse off. Bike riders, for most part, behave very safely and very responsibly.
We're on a bike, don't forget. We can't go 0 to 80.
Maybe we should make some car drivers reset their driver's test as well.
All right, we've come back from that video clip. What's your take on it, Dom?
Look, I think there is always some merits in having this registration of cyclists. We should point out that talking about registrations with Vic Roads, but also should they be included in the TAC scheme?
I'm not sure. That might be expensive. That becomes very expensive.
It'll be a tricky one to put in, considering that the Act contemplates motor vehicles, but then considering, as we said before, the number of cyclists that are on the road at the moment, there's possibly something you really have to consider realistically for the future.
Well, they can insure themselves with the association, and I think that's what they should be doing. Look, we better move on from this because time's flying. There's another one I want to take you to. It's the horse that bolted into a driver, killing the driver. Now, this is a horse that was spooked, a racehorse. It didn't have the rug on its back, and this car driver's just slammed into it. We don't know if he saw the horse or not, and he died, and it's been investigated by the coroner.
It happened at about 4 in the morning, Tony. And I
yeah,
think
it was
they were
very
taking
dark.
The horse into the van to put them
That's
in.
right.
The horse
That's right. And it
spooked
bolted.
and ran off.
That's correct. Viewers, after the break, we'll be looking at a case of McLean and Meach, which deals with the responsibilities of occupiers and horse owners. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you.